Welcome to my podcast, where we are going to talk about a lifestyle with dogs and throw in a few life lessons along the way. Whether you're a hound hunter, bird dog enthusiast, running setters, pointers, retrievers, or a flat-out running dog junkie, this podcast is for you. I am your host, Heath Hyatt, a certified law enforcement canine trainer with over 3 decades of personal and professional training and handling experience. It's time for me to pay it forward. So grab your leads, lace up those boots, and come and join me on this lifelong process of teaching, training, and learning. Are you looking to unlock your dog's full potential and give them the best nutrition possible for peak performance? Then look no further. Inukshuk has what you're looking for. Inukshuk's nutrient-dense formulas are crafted to keep your dog's energy high and performance top-notch. Packed with premium proteins and essential fats, Inukshuk delivers the balanced nutrition your dog needs to thrive. From hunting dogs to police canines, Inukshuk is trusted by professionals. Give your dog the power of peak performance with Inukshuk Professional Dog Food. My brain has not stopped. So this fall, we have a long list of great training, hound talks, and conversations that we're going to be talking about all fall. Like, I have wrote a list down, and I don't know how I'm going to cover it all. It's just stuff that, when you kind of got that downtime and you sit thinking, well, what about this? Well, what about that? Well, what happened here? Well, how does this affect that? That's what was going on for days. And when I say days, I mean days. So this fall is going to be packed with great information and great conversation. You're not going to want to miss that. I'll promise you. But we all know that recently I was able to draw an elk tag in Wyoming. So let me tell you a little bit about the backstory of this. For the last couple of years, I've been buying bonus points, preference points, whatever you call them, for Montana. I've been trying to get up to Montana, to a certain area, who one of my good friends have been going there for years, has really good success rate with some phenomenal bulls. I think one of his bulls scores like a 373. It's up in the 370s. It's a monster there. And it just hadn't worked out. I've even put in for the moose tag in Maine. And after talking to the guys I was with in Wyoming, I think I'm going to just crash that idea, trash it, and try another avenue. So yeah, I've been putting in for Montana for a couple years. I've been buying points, extra points for a couple years. It just hadn't worked out. So a while back, well, it was probably this time last year, back in the fall, I had Rick Labby on from Maine, and everybody knows Rick. He is well known for his deer hunting adventures and his tracking and the quality of bucks that he has killed year in and year out. And Rick's just phenomenal, phenomenal. So I did a podcast with Rick, and after the podcast, we're just sitting here talking about hunting in general. You know, Rick coyote hunts and he cat hunts. He's got some hounds that he's running on cats. We talking about deer hunting, and he gets to talking about Wyoming and elk hunting. And I'm like, hey, that's one of my bucket lists. That's one of my dream hunts, and I just cannot seem to be able to draw a tag. And Rick's like, well, just put out here where I'm at. So we finish our conversation, and I text him and ask him later on. I text him like, okay, when do I put in for the draw? He's like, January. So January rolls around, and I made me an account on the Wyoming Fish and Game. I went in, and I'm trying to put in for my draw. And I text Rick and ask him what area, because it's asking me an area and then a secondary area and this and that. So he's giving me this information. I put in for it and I forget about it. Well, May 22nd is the draw date, and I am setting in a pursuit driving class. And during one of the breaks, I pull up and I start looking at my emails. Well, lo and behold, boom, I've got an email from Wyoming Fish and Game. So I open the email, and it's pretty much saying, you've been chosen. You've been drawn, and here you go. So I screenshot that after I read it at least three times, to make sure my eyes wasn't tricking me and that I didn't miss something. I send it to Rick, and he sends me a text message back. It's like, holy cow, you drew the first time. A little bit of beginner's luck. We'll take it, right? We will take it. So that starts the adventure. And I cannot explain or describe in words how this hunt, or what this hunt has meant. But I will try to do that over this episode. And guys, you're going to want to stick around to the end, because this is when things get real. And there's so much that goes into this that you're going to want to hear how it all plays out in part 2. So you need to stick around, because it's going to be great. So from May till July, I don't do a whole lot. I talk to Rick a couple times through text, trying to find out what equipment I need. I've been cat hunting in New Mexico a couple times, but I've never been elk hunting or big, elk hunting out west. And I've been out west a couple times, and I watch the TV shows all the time, and they got all this stuff, and I'm thinking, man, I'm going to have to do this. I'm going to have to buy this. I don't have this. But it all ended up working out. I didn't have to buy a whole lot of extra stuff. I had bought a gun back in 2016. I bought a 7mm Bagheera. That's kind of my gun of choice. I have several of them. I had it, it's scoped and everything, and it's just been sitting in the closet because I've never used it. I bought it for the purpose of going big game hunting. I figured if I had the gun that my luck would change, right? So I had it ready. I did not have a hard case to ship it in, so I got to doing some research on that. The Pelicans, which I would prefer, but they were very, very, very high dollar. And I started reading the specs on them. I go to Harbor Freight. Harbor Freight's got the hard cases, and the specs are almost the same. And it is not even a quarter of the price. So I ended up buying me a case from Harbor Freight. I had to buy some game bags, which I did a little research on those to try to find out, which one were the best. And when I typed in best game bags for bone-in, it pulled up Outdoor Life pulled up a list, and I just kind of went through the list and was looking at the prices and the durability and stuff like that. And I think they're Argyles. Maybe I'm not pronouncing that right, but they're associated with Stone Glacier. They make some knives and stuff like that, but fairly inexpensive, honestly. And I had to buy those. And I was worried about a spot and scope and this and that. And I didn't have to buy any of that. Rick said, hey, you're not going to be shooting over 250 yards. I have spot and scopes here. If we need one, we have it. So that took care of itself. So in July, I had already talked to a really close friend of mine, Rodney Galusha, and Rodney and I have spent numerous hours in the woods together. I used to go to New York and hunt with him every year. I mean, it was like 20 years in a row. I was up hunting with him. And Rodney has recently moved to Wyoming in the last 2 years. So we were talking, and being a good friend as he is, and I mean, the man give you a shirt off his back. And one thing I want to put out there, and I've had this conversation 2 or 3 times over the last couple of weeks because it stands out. You hunters, us hunters, are some of the best people in the world. I just have to say that. And as we go through this story, you will find out why. But hunters have through the hounds, I have made some of my best friends through the hunting world. And to just kind of piggyback off that, so Rodney and I had talked a couple times. I asked Rodney about the area. It was about 4.5 hours south of him. So we're talking, and I'm telling him I'm gonna fly into an airport down there locally. And he's like, "No, fly into Billings and I'll come and pick you up." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll rent a car." He's like, "No." He's like, "Just take one of my trucks." I'm like, what? And he's like, "Yeah, just take one of my trucks." So that's the type of people I'm talking about. They give you the shirt off their back. He drives 2 hours, picks me up from the airport when I fly in, takes me out, and lets me borrow his vehicle. And I mean, I'm driving 4.5 hours down to Rick's camp. But I want to go a little bit deeper than that. So we're talking about flying. I'm looking at the airline requirements to fly in a weapon, what you need, what you can and can't do. I've never flown a weapon like this before. I've taken my pistol on several trips, but that's different being law enforcement. So Rodney's like, "Just use one of mine." And I'm like, "Okay." And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I've got several here." He said, "When you get here, just take one of mine." So as I think about this, like, it's very important to me that I bought this gun just to elk hunt with. But when I look at the requirements and stuff, and I'm like, is it that big a deal? Yeah, maybe not. I mean, I'd love to kill an elk with my gun. I don't even know if I'm going to kill an elk, right? So Rodney picks me up from the airport. We go to his house. We get on the wheeler, the bike, the side by side. They call it all kinds of things. We go out and we shoot the gun. It's a 30-06. It's a Kimber 30-06. And we shoot it at 100. We shoot it at 200. Pretty much dead on. I'm like, all right, let's roll. I got it. So we spend the evening up in the Bighorn Mountain, riding around, just looking. There's a lot of hunters up there. There's a couple camps up there. We see a lot of mule deer, pronghorns everywhere. It was awesome. So then the next morning I get up, we eat some breakfast, and I got a 4.5 hour drive basically down to Rick's camp. So I load up, get all my stuff. I load up Rodney's truck, Rodney's gun, Rodney's cooler. Like he told me, whatever you need, take it. Like, here it is, take it. That's the type of people that hunters are. And you need to remind yourself of that, like, we're good people. Some of the best people in the world are hunters, and nobody should ever say anything different just because they have different beliefs. So I text Rick and tell him, "Hey, I'm going to try to be in at lunchtime." He's like, "Great. I'll be back around lunch. We'll grab something and we'll try to hit it up in the evening." So I drive down the next morning, and man, like, the country is just beautiful. And I've been out west a couple times. Like, I've been to Montana a couple times. I've been to Washington. I've been to Oregon. Like, I've been out. I've spent several weeks out west throughout my life. I've even went to New Mexico a couple times cat hunting. And every time I go, it just amazes me. And the draw, like, it captivates you. Like it does something to you that it's inexplainable. And Rodney and I was even having this conversation driving from the airport the first day. Like, he lived in New York, and he always wanted to be out west. Well, there come a point in his life where he could make that happen, and he went. And he's living the life that he's always wanted to live. And it does that to you. Like, it does something to you. And it may not do it for everybody, but for the ones that understand what I'm talking about, man, it draws you in, and it does not want to let you go. Coming home is hard. So I drive down, and I drive up this old mountain road and up into this cabin, lodge, whatever you want to call it, camp. And there's a couple trucks sitting outside, and I'm not sure who's supposed to be here. Like, I don't know. I seen Rick post a post that a couple days before about a guy by the name of Barry that had killed a 5x5 that week on his birthday. Happy belated Barry. So I pull in, and I see two people sitting at the table. They don't know me from Adam. Like, they don't know me from Adam. And I get out, I walk up, this lady comes out on the back porch. Hey, are you Heath? Yes, ma'am, I am. I'm Nancy. Come on in. Would you like something to eat? They're sitting there eating a sandwich. And you know me, I'm never going to turn down food. Like, right? It didn't take all these years to build this corporation. So we eat a sandwich, and I meet Barry. Barry's sitting there, and he's eating a sandwich, and he's tagged out, so he's actually processing his elk. So we talk a little bit. I get to know them, and then I go in to help Barry with processing his meat. So I get all my stuff up in the bunkhouse and get it situated, and we go down, and Barry's, I don't know, he cuts steaks, I guess, and I'm grinding hamburger for him, and Nancy's putting it in the vacuum sealing and sealing it up. And I don't know, a couple hours went by, then Rick comes back, and he's got another gentleman with him, Toby. They had been out hunting all morning, and I get to meet them. Now, let's go back to the hunt. None of these people really know me, and I don't really know them. Like, I've talked to Rick on the phone. I've had a podcast with him. Like, I've got an acquaintance with him, but they don't know who Heath Hyatt is. They don't know, and they take me in, and they treat me like family. Like, this is whatever you need. It's here. Help yourself. Here it is. So we get to talking, and we decide that from the camp, with the spotting scope, you can see way, 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 way up the mountain. And Rick's like, hey, there's been some elk coming out on the side of that mountain up there. So this evening, about 5, we're going to ride up, and we're just going to glass that whole mountain. And I'm like, all right, I'm in. Like, I'm in. Whatever you say we're doing, because I know nothing. And I say nothing about elk hunting other than what an elk looks like and how to shoot a gun. That's what I know. Like, that's it. So that day, I think, and I may get this wrong, but I'm pretty sure that Rick and Toby had seen a couple bulls. They spooked one off, they know. So Rick told me, when we hunt tomorrow, if we have to hunt tomorrow, there's several bulls in this drainage, and if from you guys out west, y'all understand a drainage is like it's a long way, like it's big, and it'll have little feeder drainages off of it. So anyway, we get in a side by side, we ride up to the base of this mountain, and we get out, and we get all of our stuff together, and we take a short hike up on the top of this point. And guys, listen, I go to the gym about 3 days a week. I'm not a superstar athlete by no means, but I'm in decent shape. We start pulling that ridge, and I'm like, like, holy, I cannot breathe. So the altitude change, it didn't make me sick or anything like that. It definitely caused shortage of breath for me. Like, so that was something that was new to me. And even though I have hiked in the Tetons and Yellowstone, I'm not sure what the difference is. And maybe I just didn't pay attention because it was hiking and not hunting, where my breathing, I need to be a little quieter. I didn't pay attention to it, but that definitely, it's going to affect me over the next couple days, I'll tell you. So anyway, so we hike up there, we set up, we no sooner get the stuff set up and we start glassing and it starts hailing. And we're like, you got to be kidding me. Like, it's hailing. So we got our hoods pulled up. We're still glassing the area. And anyway, nothing all evening. Nothing comes out. It is what it is. So at dark, we decide to pack it up. We go down. Well, it's right at the end of shooting light. We pack it up. We get side by side. We get down. We have a great dinner, and we're just talking and making a plan for tomorrow. So me and Toby are going with Rick in the morning. And so we make a plan. Hey, we're going to get up this time. That's what we're going to do. And in the morning over breakfast, we'll kind of finalize what the plan is. So get up the next morning. Now, I'm excited. I will say that I did not sleep much over the next 4 or 5 days. I'll tell you that. So I'm excited. I get up the next morning. Barry and I are talking about the weather. Like, what do I wear? How much do I wear? Do I take? What do I not take? How much do I pack in my backpack? I had a day pack with me, and of course I carry my dude wipes. Got to carry those things with you. I had 2 knives. I had one in my my bino harness, and then I had a good one in my backpack. I had my game bags in there. Of course, Nancy fixed the sandwiches, so had some sandwiches. Had plenty of. I filled up my pack, my Camelback with water. Had plenty of that. Of course, I had a couple protein bars. I really like those Wilderness Athlete. I don't know if anybody's ever tried them. And I did buy some Mountain Ops protein bars too, which I do like those. But I think the Wilderness Athlete, I actually like those better. I took a whole box of that stuff with me just to throw in my backpack and stuff because I didn't know what to expect. Like I didn't know, is this daylight till dark? Is this daylight till lunch? Come out, go back? I had no clue, so I really overpacked. But I had a bunch of the protein bars and stuff I took with me. So I packed all that stuff up, and I'm talking to Barry about what do I need, what do I not need, and he's kind of guiding me. They're teaching me because I don't know, like I don't know. So the plan is for Monday morning, we are going to go into a drainage where they had seen and heard some elk previously, and we're going to split up. Rick and I are going to go up into a certain area, and Toby's going to kind of go on to his own thing where they was at yesterday. Hopefully he can run into another one of those bulls. So we start in, and we walk up this creek bed with a horse trail up the side of it, and it'll be into the woods and then kind of like an open little meadow, and it'll be into the woods and open little meadow. And I realized that I did not mark my location on X. So we stop, and I'm like, hey, I didn't mark the side by side. Let me go ahead and mark now so I can at least get back to here, and I know if I walk straight down, I'm at the side by side. And I had done some research on X. Like I had looked this place over and over and over. Like I had scoured over this terrain but we were hunting a little further east than I had really paid attention to. So that's why it was important for me to get this on X. So anyway, we stopped. I logged my location, and all the trails and stuff actually was on there. I was really pleased that it had where we was at and what we were doing. So we start hiking again, and we hear something. And Toby and I kind of look at each other, and I was like, "Did you hear that?" And he said, "Yeah." And Rick's like, "What was it?" And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I've never heard an elk bugle, and I can't say, but I heard it cut off. And if you understand what I'm talking about, if you ever turkey hunt, you heard a turkey gobble, and they go, go, and they cut it off. It's what it sounded like. I'm like, ain't no turkeys up here. And Toby's the same way. He's like, I mean, I heard it, but I didn't hear it good enough to tell you what it was. So we kind of pinpoint the direction that we heard it in, which was over top. When I say a mountain, it was over top of a big leading ridge, or however you want to put it. So we're not heading into that area. We're going into another area. So we take off hiking again, and Rick's like, let's go. I'm like, I'm with you. If you say let's climb the top of that mountain, that's where I'm going. So we turn off, and that's not the original plan. And Toby goes on. So Rick and I start pulling up out of this drainage into another drainage. And we get up, and I mean, I'm seeing elk sign. Like, I'm seeing like hoof prints, a lot of droppings. I see 2 or 3 trees that are horned. And long story short, we get up, and you know, we're whispering back and forth. And Rick's like, hey, he's like, there is a wallow up here in the edge of this meadow. And I'm like, okay. So we get to about the edge of that wallow, and I hear another noise. It's not a bugle. I was like, Rick, did you hear that? He's like, no, what was it? And I'm like, it sounded like a bull cow grunting. And it's hard to explain. And he's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, it sounded like a bull cow. So we walk to the edge of this meadow. We're in the very edge of it. Rick pulls out his bugle, and he hits the bugle, and it's just a few seconds later, and we hear this. Rick tells me to go, get across the meadow and get set up. So I go across the meadow, and I'm getting set up. Still not sure what I'm supposed to be doing here, but it's just I'm turkey hunting at this point. I get across the open area. I get into the woods about 20 yards or so, and I set up. And could I have set up in a worse place? No. So on the next episode, you are going to hear what the next hour entails. So thank you for turning in to What's Up Wednesday. If you like what we're doing, always share it with a friend or another hunter. And if you like listening to the W podcast, follow along with our fellow podcasters. Listen to Gone to the Dogs with Mr. Stephen Fielder. And next week, we'll see you again.
Tailgate drops before the light. Coolers packed and the rig sitting right. Tracking collars charged, beeping green. Boots in the bed and the rifle's clean. Dog box rattling, engines hum. We're chasing bear till the day is done. Old ring barking like he knows what's near. Nose to the wind, tail full of cheer. From the Virginia mountains to the Carolina clay, we're burning fuel and miles each day. Every turn's another tale. Through mountain mist and paper trails, we see the sunset red in Tennessee. chasing bears. Rest stops few, the roads are long, but the fire in our hearts still burns strong. Wisconsin mornings cutting crisp and clear, Canada's wildwoods drawing near. Still got states we ain't run, but that hound dog fever won't let us quit. We see the sun set red in Tennessee, rise through the fall in old WV. North Carolina's pines echo loud with the cry of a hard-run hound. New York frost mains, deep snow, Vermont valleys where the black bears go. Truck keeps rolling, wheels don't care. We're chasing daylight, chasing bears. Gas station coffee, Alpha XL on the dash. Another back road, another bear track. Friends made fast and stories told slow. Under stars where only hunters go. We see the sunrise gold in Canadian air, and it sets on a trail down in Appalachia. Packing steel and leather, grit and care. We're built for the road and chasing bears. So load the dogs and slam the gate. There's a trail ahead, we won't be late. From dawn to dusk, we're always there. Chasing daylight, chasing them bears.